All right, the red velvet cake is totally cool, and I've got my cream cheese frosting. It's time to do the crumb coat. We're gonna take and trim each of the cake layers just a little bit. You don't wanna take out too much, especially if they're already pretty flat. But you wanna do a sawing motion and just trim off any sort of excess topping and rotate the cake tray as much as you can. It's the best way to get a nice flat top. All right, now this second layer of cake, I'm gonna make the bottom of my cake. But again, I'm sawing. I'm not gonna take too much off this cake. This is a red velvet cake. It's gonna be a little bit rustic, but it's gonna be delicious, and that's the most important part. So I'm gonna take a pastry bag right now, put a little bit of this frosting in here. Okay, and I'm gonna pipe a very thin border all around the cake. This is just so when I set the cake on here, it's gonna fill in nicely. Okay, I'll squeeze about a little bit of this out there. This is gonna be the frosting that is on the layer between the two layers of cake. People tend to want to put a lot of frosting on the cakes. It's really not necessary, especially on this inner layer. Too much frosting and it'll just cause the whole cake to slip and slide. It's gonna be, if the cake itself is sweet, the frosting is very sweet, a little goes a long way. When you frost a cake, especially with red velvet or anything chocolatey, you can really see a lot of those crumbs appearing. There's no way to get them all off. So we do a crumb coat and it will allow you to have a nice clean looking cake. Now I'm gonna invert this bottom onto the top of the cake, and what you achieve through that is the top of the cake is now flat as opposed to rounded. That's how you get that flat look on the cake. And to do a proper crumb coat, you wanna, one, have a mixing bowl on the side here, because you don't want to get any of the red crumbs into your main frosting. So I'm going to get a little bit about this, but you're going to be scraping a lot of this frosting off the cake. So very little, it's a very, very thin layer of frosting. And again, this isn't about sweetening the cake or about the flavor. This is about getting a thin layer, a crumb coat on the cake. And again, if you see all these crumbs forming, don't worry about it, don't get excited. That's normal and that's what it's supposed to do, really. All right, we're just about done. So for the last part of this crumb cake, we're gonna take our cake scraper. And again, you can find these at any cake shop. And I'm gonna make a nice clean coat on the outside. It looks messy at this point, and that's okay. That's what the crumb coat is all about. It's gonna help you get a nice clean cake when you're all done. Okay, I'm gonna stick this in the refrigerator for about maybe 15, 20 minutes, let it firm up, let the frosting get nice and hard, and then we'll add the outside layer and decorate the red velvet cake. It's gonna look awesome. All right, let's stick it in the fridge.